So, you're thinking of starting a new army for Warhammer 40k, but you have no idea where to start? This is Ham of War, and in this video I'm going to share my process of planning a new army. Inspiration. The most important stage, in my opinion, is finding inspiration. Maybe you have seen some really cool artwork for a particular army and want to recreate it. Perhaps you have just read a Black Library novel and want to play out your favourite battle from the book or paint your favourite character. Inspiration can come from so many places, and I find that the key to completing a project is keeping that momentum, which is so much easier when you are excited and inspired by something. To give you an example, the other day I was watching the classic film Aliens. I recently bought the new Leviathan box and had no idea how to paint the Tyrannid half. I wasn't massively inspired by any of the colour schemes on the box, so I put them to one side and continued with my other projects. After watching that film, however, I thought how cool would it be to paint my Tyrannids like the xenomorphs from Aliens, and now I had the excitement and the inspiration to paint my army. Display or gaming? So now that you have your inspiration, what now? What I decide next is whether my project is for gaming or just for display. If you're painting for display, paint the models that you think are the coolest or have the most interesting lore. Paint the models that appeared in the artwork you are replicating or the characters and units that featured in the book you are reading. For gaming, however, there are a few more things you might want to consider. Do you want to be competitive or casual? Maybe you just want to play narrative games, or you're starting a crusade with a few of your gaming friends. Perhaps you want to start entering local tournaments and are a more serious gamer. Once you've figured this out, then it becomes easier to know what models you want in your army. In casual games, you probably just want to take the units that you think look the coolest or have rules that excite you. In more competitive games, you might want to watch some videos on army tactics to see which units are good in the meta or which units are important for your particular army. Another useful tip is before you buy any models, see if you can test the army out at your local gaming club, or maybe a friend has the army, to see if you like the way they play. The models. Whatever you decide, I find the best way to start a collection is with the Combat Patrol box sets. You get a great selection of units for your faction of choice and can start playing straight out of the box. Whilst they are good value for money, maybe your idea involves a bit of conversion work or kit bashing. If this is the case, you need to spend a bit more time sourcing bits and other model kits. There are many ways to do this. You can swap with a friend, you can 3D print parts, you can order individual bits from websites like Bitbox, or you can buy third-party components, as there are loads of great ones out there. Which brings me to where you buy your models from. I love to support my local gaming store, so buy as many of the products as possible that I need from them. If I can't find them in there, then the second-hand market is always good if you're on a budget, with places like eBay and the Facebook Marketplace. Painting. So you have your inspiration, you've built your army with all the extra bits, bobs, feathers and trinkets. Now it's time to paint. I find the best practice here is to do some test models. You don't want to paint your whole army and hate it halfway through or lose interest and motivation. Plan out your colour scheme using any reference art that you may have and just test out a few different ways of achieving it on some old models. Once you have found a paint job you absolutely love, write down the recipe for each colour in a notebook. Then when you come to painting the army, you have an easy to hand reference and eliminate the thinking time. The less time you spend looking around and trying to remember what colour you need, the more time you can spend painting. Which brings me to my next point, organisation. Before you start painting an army, get all the paints and materials you need out on your desk so they are accessible during the painting process. You don't want to stop halfway through to dig around in a box looking for that one pot of Nuln Oil. Once you have finished painting, your army is ready for the battlefield or display case. Have you achieved what you set out to? Have you captured that moment from the artwork or battle described in your book? Hopefully, following these steps, you have accomplished this and are left with something to be proud of. Now, I'm not saying this is the only way or the best way to plan an army. This is just my process that helps me stay motivated and gets my ideas onto the tabletop. There is no better feeling than sitting back and admiring a completed project or getting a win with your new force on the battlefield. I hope this helps you plan your next army, and I would love to hear any tips you have about army planning in the comments. Thanks for watching to the end. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then make sure you like, subscribe and join me again soon on Ham of War.